Hi, and welcome to another episode of From a Woman to a Leader, a podcast dedicated to discussing women's unique challenges in the tech industry. I'm your host, Limor Bergman Gross, and today we are going to talk with Chiquita Hall-Jackson. Chiquita is a renowned employment attorney and a social justice advocate. She's also known as the Discrimination Disruptor. Chiquita has dedicated her career to fighting workplace discrimination and harassment. And in this episode, she's sharing her personal journey from facing 45 rejections to founding her own practice and provide practical strategies for navigating workplace dynamics, especially for Black women. You'll learn how to document incidents, build a support system, and advocate for yourself effectively. So get ready for an empowering and insightful conversation. Let's dive in. Hi, Chiquita. How are you? It's a pleasure to have you today.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you here today. And first, I want to start by maybe tell our audience your story of how you even started your own practice.
Okay. So my name is Attorney Chiquita Hall-Jackson. I'm a licensed attorney here in Chicago, and I founded Hall-Jackson and Associates off the idea that I have 41 rejection letters getting into law school. And as a result, I just that was getting into law school. And so once I got in law school, no issues. I was not on academic probation. I actually excelled in law school. And then I ultimately passed the bar first time around. And so things was going good in this 3-year period. And so then I started applying again for applications for jobs. I started putting in applications for various jobs. And as a result, I applied for 2 jobs, and I had 2 people tell me, submit your resume, apply for these jobs, because we're going to walk you through the door. And I got rejected from both of those. And I didn't want to go back through that road of rejection. So I just said, I'll start my own practice. The good thing about having a law degree, as soon as you finish school and pass the bar, you can do what we call hang your own shingle. And I immediately did that. I immediately started my own firm and started practicing. And every time I thought I was going to go work with someone else, I would have these horror stories about how people was being treated in the workplace. Even my colleagues, they would come and show me their Apple phones. And in the notes section, it had like all of this, like a diary of these horrible experiences that was happening in the workplace. And I just said, if I'm going to work this hard for someone, I might as well do it for myself. And here we are 10 years later.
Wow, this is incredible. And what a resilience that you have, like 41 rejections, and you were determined that that's what you want.
Yes, I wanted to go out on my own and do something better for myself.
Yeah, and I know that you're all about making the workplace an inclusive place, and basically fighting discrimination and harassment.
That is correct.
So tell us a little bit. Would love to hear from you. And it's unfortunate that we have those things, but what can we do? We can only try to fix them.
Correct.
So what kind of strategies do you have for people who maybe face discrimination in the workplace? What can they do to navigate it?
For those who are currently focusing and navigating on for those who are currently in the workplace and are suffering from workplace discrimination, I highly tell people to document. You need to collect enough evidence so that you can take it to your higher ups, whether that's human resources, immediate supervisor, or manager, to let them know what exactly is going on with you in that moment. So many times we just take the first incident that happened to us, and it may not be so severe that your employer deem it important or necessary. They should investigate everything, but a lot of times certain things are brushed under the rug because we rush to complain about every little thing. And so just take your time and document, and make sure you identify and document who was present during this discussion, what action, we need to use action words, what action was actually done to me that made me feel that I was being mistreated or discriminated against, any witnesses that was around, the wrongdoer, the date and time. If you don't remember the specific time, you can at least put the time frame of the day: early morning, afternoon, late evening, on my way out to the door to go home for the evening. Some details like that, so human resources can help you help yourself. And lastly, if there's anything that you feel like is worthy of a picture, take a picture of it. I had someone call me today and they told me some nasty words was written in their workstation. Did you take a picture of it? No. And so the likelihood of someone substantiating those claims without a picture is very rare. So
Yeah.
document.
How do you even know you face discrimination? What are the signs?
Great question. And so this is a key component where people usually bring claims and they're deemed frivolous or they're not substantiated, is because people fail to realize with discrimination, you have to prove that someone's being treated better than you. You have to have a comparator, aka someone to compare yourself against. And so in situations where you are being disciplined, whether that was a demotion, suspension, remove of benefits and title and pay, you want to look at, or ultimately terminated, you want to look at what was the action that I did that the employer justified in their action for disciplining me or treating me this way. What was the action that I did, at least that they cited in the disciplinary action or verbally? And then you want to say, well, who else in my workplace did something similar or worse than the alleged behavior that they're alleging me of doing, but they were not treated as harsh as me. Maybe I violated the code violation that I clearly made an error on, or properly personally did it, or I was ignorant to the fact that this was actually a rule and I did this. And as a result, I got suspended without pay, but my colleague just simply got a oral warning or something like that. That's when there's discrimination. Other than that, I tell people a lot of times what you find is that some people just are abusing their power. They never had that before, and it feels good to them. And so they're just pretty much chastising everyone or mistreating you because of a personality conflict. I don't like you because your hair is longer than mine. I don't like you because you like to dress up and wear makeup every day. Who do you think you are? But that's not necessarily discrimination. You have to have someone to compare yourself to and compare the actions in which they did was similar to yours, but we're looking at the harm. What was the punishment between the two of us?
Okay, so you're talking about like I've done something wrong. I was punished more than maybe someone else that have done the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah. And what if I'm just doing my job and I feel like, well, like, for example, a lot of women that I coach, and also, to be honest, women that I interviewed for my podcast, they do a great job, yet they don't get, and also I face that myself, they don't get the rewards that they wish they have. Like whether it's promotion or salary increases. So it's not about punishment rather than, oh, I haven't advanced as much as I wanted to. What do you do in those cases? Like it's very difficult to prove, like, why not me?
Yeah, across the board, discrimination is hard to prove. And so in situations, you're right, it's not always about the disciplinary, and especially when you're talking about women versus men, the difference usually is a difference of pay. They're promoting men at a higher rate than they're promoting women. They're giving them leave time without any problems. I need, a few weeks off of my children and I'm getting harassed. This guy comes in late every day and they're not giving him any issues, all that type of stuff. Again, you need a comparator. You have to compare yourself to that male. If you're looking as a female category, what are they doing for the men that they're not doing for females? And as a result of that, you still want to document. If you notice that you called off maybe 2 times in 2 months, saying I'm running late a little bit because my daughter's recital or whatever situation may be, I need to be late for my mom duties. This man is late every day because he has whatever excuse. He has to take care of his mother, or he just has the leisure to come in when he chooses to. So you want to compare the dates and time of those incidents and where you know that this man was given the privilege to do what he wanted and you were not. As far as promotions, what I have found by exposure and sitting in certain rooms, men make it clear. They set career goals and they make it clear as to what they want, and they let everybody know it. They don't have no problem going to human resources, their supervisor, their team lead, and say, hey, here's my goal how can I get there? And a lot of times women, we sit back and we just wait and hope someone pick us. We have to open our mouths and say, hey, this is a great opportunity, but I want more, and I can see myself helping advancing the company this way. With that, can you work with me to outline my goal? What would it take for me to get to this role that I desire? You have to let someone know and stop waiting and sitting back and hoping that someone picks you and notice you.
Definitely. I mean, this is something that I truly believe in, and I always tell, everyone. You have to really be intentional about your career and let your manager know what your progression for you, what it looks like and what you want, and
Yeah.
work with them in order to get there.
Yes, 100%. Especially, I'm looking at your title, from a woman to a leader. If you want to be a leader, you have to vocalize and communicate. Don't expect people to read your mind. Please don't. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times we take it personal, but it's not. It's just simple as an easy fix. Like, oh, I knew this person wanted it. I don't have to go through the interview process. Someone who's eagerly waiting for this position, I've been watching them. They're capable of doing it. So just give them the position versus, well, hey, I was over here waiting for this position. Well, no, you never told me. And so it's not discriminatory. It's just, it made my job easier. And I'm sorry, I forgot that you even existed when it came to this position. But it had nothing to do with me passing you over. And then another thing for discrimination, you also looked at, were you equally qualified as this person you're comparing yourself to? Experience-wise, education-wise, skills-wise, were you equally qualified for that position? Look at the job description. Do I meet the qualifications listed in the job description? And if so, then you have a case.
Definitely. And do you have any tips for, how can someone figure out, how to advocate for themselves and kind of ask for that promotion or that raise without sounding, especially for women, to be honest, without sounding like you're an aggressive kind of person? How can you do that? This assertive versus aggressive always kind of kicks in.
It's so funny because we as women, we try to be reserved. We don't want to seem like we're trying to over insert ourselves, or we don't want to seem aggressive and less ladylike by making ourselves known and seen. But we honestly have to unhide and assert ourselves in certain situations. And if you want to slide in, it's this young lady, she goes around and she calls it the gentle handshake. But ultimately, what I like to say is simply take your time and displaying your personal branding. We hear about this content creators and different people that personally build up their personal brand, and then everyone brought into them. You do the same thing in the corporate space. You slowly show that I'm qualified, that you gave me an initiative. I introduced an initiative for the company. I volunteered and spearheaded this project, and we got it done. It was a success. And as a result, I want to highlight what it took. Can we do a recap to show what it took to get these results that we have as a company? And I'm here again if you need me to spearhead another situation. Don't just sit at the table being quiet. In addition to that, start looking at the company's website, the company newsletters and things like that, and notice who are they highlighting as employee of the month and different things like that. And what was so special about that individual? What did they do different that you did not do? Maybe they volunteered, for, I see all the time companies sponsor these banquets and different events just so that they can get their names on different promotional items. And as a result, you have tables of empty seats, right? Because no one on behalf of the company showed up. Maybe you volunteer. I understand you guys are supporting something that aligns with the mission, supporting women becoming leaders. And so if you don't mind, I don't mind traveling for the weekend to support that initiative on behalf of the company. Start volunteering yourself for doing different things so that you can be noticed. And it's not more so I'm being assertive, but I'm volunteering and I'm willing to let you know that I'm willing and I'm a team player, and it's a we thing and not a me thing. And then eventually when those opportunities come, you come to the top of their mind like, oh, that person was really good in this. Maybe they'll be open to considering this position, this promotion. And we just don't do that. We just honestly sit back and hope that someone identifies us. And it's rare that really happens.
Absolutely. And I like you said it's a we thing and not a me thing.
Yes, we. I noticed that was certain when I started hiring and becoming the employer, that the people that really did well with my company and still with me, they used the word we from the beginning. So how can we do this? We had a call today, and I think it'd be a great fit for the firm versus someone you guys had a call, you bring that we, because then you become a team player early on and understand that we are building something together.
Absolutely love that. And do
Thank
you
you.
have any tips for negotiating not just your promotion, but also your benefits, your title? Your title. It can be your title. It can be your salary, especially after you start out, right? I mean, you usually negotiate when you interviewed for the job, but how do you kind of make sure that you're not left behind?
Sure, and again, you made a key point right here. Some people negotiate when they get that offer a lot, and then a lot of times what we do is only focus on the money if we do negotiate. Okay, you offer me $20 an hour, but what is $25 an hour? Can we make this happen? I definitely can assign. But at that time, that's the time to look at your benefits package. My husband has benefits, so do I necessarily need the company benefits? I don't need the company benefits for medical, but maybe I need it for something else. And so at that time, maybe you can say, in lieu of my insurance, can I get a little bit more money here? Or can I do X, Y, and Z, something that you know your family needs, or something that you need that would benefit you. So that's an opportunity. Another opportunity is doing performance reviews. That they're gloating about you and saying how your access to the company. You also talking about all the wonderful things you've done over the past year. And so with that, you can slide in. This has been great. But another thing that I noticed over the year is that I'm in need of X, Y, and Z. And is there any way that we can make this happen? Proposition at those times. So look, I have a chapter in my book, We're Gonna Be All Right, a Black executive guide to navigating workplace. But this is for women, anyone with a protected class. And we just talk about the idea that how to navigate workplaces. And what I find is that a lot of times we just the chapter talks about is more than the money. We focus on the money. I got this offer, this dollar amount sounds good, but then we're miserable in other areas because we didn't negotiate those. But we have to ask about those things.
Definitely, definitely. And we'll talk about your book in a minute, but uh, how do you negotiate in a way that is truthful for you and your values? Because the thing is, I always tell like women that I coach, and this is the theme of my season, like negotiate like a woman. Negotiation doesn't have to be like a negative thing where you shout at each other, you raise your voice. It can be actually very pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
So, what kind of insights do you have on that?
It's so funny because you said it can be pleasant. Just like I have a 4-year-old, and every time I tell her something, it's why, or okay, please, please, please. And I say it's time to go home. Can we get 10 more minutes? And so it's not necessarily, like you said, everything's not unpleasant. Of course, as a mind, if I'm saying let's go home, it's not to go home. But I can negotiate. Okay, you get 10 more minutes in exchange for no ice cream at night or something like that. So kind of think of it that way. You negotiating with your child for extra bedtime to go spend the night with their friend for the weekend. They don't want to get chores. And so it's just finding those key moments when we're laughing, having a good time. Oh, by the way, I was just thinking, get comfortable in having conversations, and just knowing that you want to take in consideration when you're negotiating what strengths and what are you bringing to the table. In addition to that, how does the company benefit from what you're asking for? And so if you lead with that, I noticed that you guys are offering this family package for me. However, and I estimate the premiums about this much. I did the research on it. However, my husband carries us on insurance. I don't necessarily need this insurance, but what we do need is extra money in my household to make sure that I can get back and forth for gas every day, right? So it's to get here. And so is there a way that I can possibly waive my insurance package in exchange for a few more dollars so that I can afford to get transportation? Also, they might ask you to travel, or you need to go get continuing education hours. I don't necessarily need the benefit package, but I definitely need to maintain my license. Is there any way I could put this money towards me going to continue education, additional training, whatever you feel is the need, and something that you want? But again, you want to talk about how the company will benefit in addition to your skills, education, and experience that will help benefit the company as a result of what you're seeking.
Definitely. And I hear all the time from you, it's not just about you, it's about us, it's about the we, like the company, how we are doing this together. It's not just for my own benefit, but it's for the benefit of the company.
Correct.
So let's talk about your book. We're gonna be all right. What initiated you to write it?
Sitting in this seat as an employment law attorney. So the back end to the story that I told very early on that me starting my own practice, I started off with a general practice, which means some people call it a lawyer, but I did a variety of different types of law because I was fresh out of law school, fresh off the bar exam, and I said before I lose the skills and the knowledge of each practice area, I want to take it all and see where I land, what my heart desires. And what I found was so many workers was calling and complaining, and especially those who had given 15 plus years to the workplace and they noticed they were not being treated right. And that kind of pulled up my heartstrings. And as a result, in 2017, I announced that we're doing completely employment law, that we're going to specialize in employment law. But over the years, I got so many calls of people calling and complaining about their workplace. But what they had no legal standing, meaning that they wouldn't survive in court if they choose to bring a lawsuit. And they wouldn't survive at the EEOC level or any other level trying to challenge their employer. And the more you get unsubstantiated findings or dismissal of cases, you only empower the wrongdoer. They feel like they're untouchable because they just knocked out another case, and I'm like, we have to stop this. We have to disrupt what we know as a culture norm by advocating for ourselves and properly navigating the workplace so that we don't need to land in litigation. How can we do that? Start opening our mouths and ask for the things we want. Setting career goals is just not I have a job and I'm only doing this until my kids get out of school. I need to help pay the mortgage, or as soon as my mortgage is over, I'm out of here. Okay, if that's the case, what can you do? Because some people know, and a lot of people do not know, when you do your retirement package, it's the average of the last 4 years your salary. So if you sit in the same role for 4 years and your salary has not increased, the pay that you're complaining about now, barely paying your bills, that's the average of the 4 years that you're going to get for your retirement benefits. So you want to continue to climb that corporate ladder. You want to continue to get pay increases so that when you can retire, that you have a nice cushion to live off of. So you have to identify and vocalize what you want by setting career goals and sharing that with someone else. You have to share that vision with someone else that you can trust within the company. And if this company is just not the place for you, you set it around long enough and you notice that they do not promote women. So maybe you need to start setting an exit plan and start implying when things are good in the workplace so that you can get a nice referral, versus waiting when things are so rocky that you don't trust anybody and you cannot ask for a referral for anybody. Set career goals and also know when it's time to exit gracefully. We want to leave on great terms because we never know when maybe one of your good friends now promoted to supervisor and they want you on the team, so they want you to come back. So we want to make sure we're not signing documents that say that we can't be hired back. We're on the no hire list. So you want to leave gracefully and with your reputation intact. And so the book, I'm like, we have to disrupt this. In addition to this, myself, my mother, and my grandmother have faced discrimination based on gender and race in the workplace. And I have a 4-year-old now. She was 3 at the time I wrote the book. And I'm like, there's no way she should be experiencing this too. There's no way 4 generations of women going to face this. And so we're going to disrupt this pattern now. And we're going to be on a mission to educate women and African American and just different people across the board, employees, human resources, on what it takes to have an inclusive environment, not just a diverse environment, but inclusive where everyone feels included and everyone is bringing something to the table.
Definitely, and I like the distinction between inclusive and diverse, right? Because everyone talk about diversity. Oh, okay, we'll just hire a person of color, a woman, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, and they sit in the background. The crazy part, they expect you to sit in the background, and I have witnessed people just do it. You bring nothing to the table outside of that protected class. You helping them check a box, but you're there for a reason. Show that women are qualified for this seat and that women are valued and can bring something to the table. So assert yourself by, like I said, taking some initiatives and help take and bring in projects that you know will help make the company shine and go to the next level.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of that is about the mindset, like realizing that you deserve a seat at the table, that you are worthy. Do you have any tips about like the mindset thing? Like how those women that, and let's be honest, like women of color face that even more so than white women. How can they really bring a sense of awareness to their values and how much they bring, raise their self-confidence?
It's a struggle. It's an ongoing struggle. I tell people all the time, you have a lovely EAP program, employee assistance program. Take advantage of those resources and meet with a therapist. You know, you might try it once you didn't like it, so move around, ask for referrals or someone that fits your demographic that you feel like will be helpful in your situation and help you get over those mindset. Again, a career coach also is another person that can help you get over those blocks. And then most importantly, just daily affirmations. Even if as you put on your lipstick, as you're doing your hair in the morning, put some stuff on your mirror to say, or just say to yourself as you walk into the car, as you walking throughout the day, daily affirmation. And then everyone loves Amazon. Go on Amazon and look at mindset books and different things like that. Or YouTube mindset videos and things like that. And it's really, really a daily and yearly, annually, ongoing.
It's ongoing.
As soon as you feel like you conquered something, it's like, okay, now I feel defeated again. And so it really is an ongoing battle. But again, I think my biggest thing is looking at my child. Like I have to show up for her so that she knows that women are powerful and that women can do anything. And so if that's something that you need to do, trick yourself into being a stronger woman, then and an assertive woman and someone that speaks up for yourself, look at your children, your grandchildren that's looking up to you.
I love that, actually. I haven't thought about that. I mean, yes, be a role model for your children, for your mother, for your grandmother, for your family, like that. You are proving everyone that although you are a woman, although you're a woman of color, you're just worthy as everyone else and you conquer all the growth that you have.
Yes, because they're looking up to you. And as much as we don't want that weight on our shoulder, is natural. People just look up to their parents until you do something wrong. And even then, they still think very highly of you. And so you have to be their role model. A lot of times we look out to be mentors to other co-workers and people in academia, but back in your own household, people are looking up for you to be that shining example. That despite she had some hurdles, I definitely witnessed her crying and this and that, but she still was strong and showed up every day on behalf of her herself, her children, her family, and her coworkers.
Absolutely. So before we end our call today, Chiquita, what else would you like to share? Maybe something that I haven't asked and you want to talk about.
The main thing is please follow us on all social platforms at Blow the Whistle Law, at Blow the Whistle Law. We have a movement that says, see something. My shirt says, see something, say something, blow the whistle on discrimination and harassment. But speak up for yourself, ladies. This is an opportunity to, I love the name of this title, From a Woman to a Leader. We are leaders naturally.
Yeah.
Our husbands follow us. They ask for advice, and we have to remind them daily that we're not their moms, right? And that's jokingly, but ultimately that's because they see the leader in us, and you are a leader. Your children look up to you. Your co-workers, your girlfriends, they look up to you. They admire you in the work that you do. So take that and go show them the shining example that you are.
Wow, this is a wonderful way to end. And thank you so much, Chiquita. I will get all the links from you and I'll put them on the show notes. Thank you so much for being here today.
No problem. Support the book, guys.
Thank you so much for listening for another episode of From a Woman to a Leader. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Chiquita. As always, feel free to share your review with us and subscribe to never miss another episode. Before we wrap up, I wanted to announce the next week episode that you don't want to miss. I'm going to interview Sharika Sanders. Sharika says in the episode that one of the key lessons she learned in her career is the importance of advocating for yourself, especially in salary negotiations. It can be uncomfortable, but it's absolutely crucial. Completely agree with her on that. And Sharika, who is she? She's an incredible accountant and entrepreneur who has an amazing story about how a simple conversation with a teacher changed her career path forever. Sharika shares her journey from high school psychology to a successful accounting career and how empowering accountants and women entrepreneurs. You have to show up for yourself. If you're not happy with the terms, don't just walk away. Speak up, present your case, and negotiate for what you deserve. This is just one of the powerful quotes from Sharika in this episode. So make sure to tune in for this inspiring conversation. Sharika's advice on self-advocacy and career development is something you don't want to miss. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.